there's not a morning goes by that the Everton situation does not develop. It's developing all the time. For those who don't know, and there must be very few around the country now who follow football that don't know, that Everton, a proud club, a great football club, but on Friday last week, whilst we were on air, docked 10 points. So they have dropped right down into the danger area in the Premier League and just might not come out of that. And relegation could well be on the cards. We'll see. I mean, you made a good point. It might galvanise. I'm sure if ever a club can get together, it might well be Everton. But talking about messaging, we'll get to that in a second. Is there much point in this? I mean, I now see an Everton fans group going to take a protest in London to the Premier League headquarters here in London. It's going to head tomorrow at 5:30. I mean, feel free to bring your own Everton flags, scarves, etc. They're getting together. Is this part of the galvanising that you were talking about?
Well, not really, no. But I guess they think it's part and parcel of their right. We live in a society where you have the right to protest if you so feel that that's your inclination.
Yeah.
They will feel wronged. And they felt wronged on a number of fronts, haven't they? They've taken it out on a variety of people. They will say the justification is that Ball doesn't run the football club very well, so they've had their ire. And now the Premier League, or the Premier League's independent commission that's detailed the punishment, are entitled to the similar amount of frustration from the Everton fans. My expectation was that the Everton fans, as we've heard from callers that came in earlier on in the week, my immediate reaction was this: I wouldn't want to be Man United going into that bear pit. Because it will be visited on Manchester United from the intensity of the stadium through to the reaction to from the players, through to Sean Dyche, because Sean Dyche will dig in and use it as an opportunity to build even more spirit in the club, that they're fighting for everything and they're fighting against everybody. And I felt that was what was going to happen. Now, of course, in this day and age of protests, you're going to have a segment of a fan base feeling that they're entitled to it. Manchester City fans disliked UEFA and constantly turned their back on the UEFA anthem every single time. Now, it didn't work very well for them because UEFA sanctioned them and they only got out from underneath because the Court of Arbitration of Sport stepped in and negated what UEFA had sanctioned them for. Look, I don't think it's great. I don't think it's hugely constructive. I don't think it will get anywhere. And I don't agree with it, but I also understand why certain segments of their fan base that live, breathe, eat and sleep their football club will feel inflamed.
Well, I mean, the former council leader in Liverpool, Derek Hatton, used the words bear pit for Goodison on Sunday. You've just used the same words, Simon. It's understood. I mean, can you believe this? It's understood that Sky Sports will take steps to prevent offensive language from Everton fans being audible during the match against Manchester United on Sunday. To comply with Ofcom's rules, they say they may turn the crowd noise down.
Can't we use that when Gary Neville starts talking?
Organisers of the protests are calling on all fans inside Goodison to chant Premier League corrupt as, you get it, in the 10th minute of the game to mark the fact that they got a 10 points deduction. They're all rallying. They're all getting into position. We've got talk of a plane getting flown over, not over the Everton-Manchester United game, would you believe it, on Sunday, because it'll be dark by then. It's a later kickoff. There's a plane going to be hired to fly with a banner flying behind it over the Manchester City-Liverpool game at Saturday lunchtime. Okay. And, of course, plenty of eyes will be on that match as well. I mean, they are they're parking their tanks on the Premier League's lawn, aren't they?
Well, look, I mean, there was the inherent belief that constantly reverberates around certain fraternities of football is about conspiracy theories. And I use the word conspiracy theory rather than other terminologies I've used in the past. But the idea that people are colluding together to do someone down, if it's not Manchester City, it's now Newcastle. If it's not Newcastle, it's now Everton. The reasons why you're in the position that you're in is because your owner didn't run the football club very well. You didn't lose £120 million. You lost 350, and you were allowed to adjust 230 million down. You made concessions or allowable adjustments far greater than any other football club in the Premier League, and subsequently you've been consequenced. Now, I don't understand what they think they're going to achieve, because clearly there was a need for a sanction. Tragically for Everton, that sanction has come, what I believe, because I've written about it, I believe it's a product of its times. It doesn't make it corrupt. It may not be what you like, But there isn't a conspiracy theory between Richard Masters and other people to do Everton down. You and the people that own your football club, which is not you, Everton fans, and I understand that, put yourself in the way of this. And whilst I don't condone any irritation or ire to a level where it becomes, as it became earlier on in the year with certain people, one of them being my friend, Bill Kenwright, being subjected to unnecessary levels of abuse that excluded the Everton board from the stadium, I do understand that football fans, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that football needs football fans. They're the lifeblood of the football club, but only when they behave as we think they should.
So what about the protests that are planned, Simon? Powerful or pointless?
Pointless.
Pointless.
Well, what is the point of them?
Flying the plane over Manchester City, Liverpool with a banner behind you.
Yeah, that's directed at Manchester City, I suspect.
Chanting in protest towards the Premier League after 10 minutes of the game against Manchester United. Yeah. And Sky might have to tweak the audio on that.
If we're framing it as powerful or pointless, it's powerful for those in the mind of a fans group that know that their football club is at the value at the centre of their hearts. It reverberates, so they'll feel that they're doing something. So for that, it's empowering. If we're looking for an outcome, well, I would suggest it's pointless. Yeah. Because where does it lead to? What is it going to lead to?
Do you think the club needs to be delicate with its messaging at the moment?
What, in terms of not whipping the fans up any further?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yes, I think it's probably not constructive to create. I mean, there's the idea, the suggestion to me was that the reason why Everton voted against the vested interest of the other clubs that were wanting to vote for the retention of the ability to be able to loan players from Saudi clubs and from clubs that have been sold to one another, and players that have been sold to one another, is because Everton were very disenfranchised and disillusioned with the Premier League, if you believe that to be the petted lip mentality that Everton would have deployed. But to answer your question, well, yes, of course, because if the club says something that stokes something up and something happens and somebody gets themselves in the way of some problems, i.e. there's some physicality that gets involved, people get hurt, then no one's going to applaud the club for that.
Well, I mean, Everton's director of football, Kevin Thelwell, is saying we're rallying in the face of a sporting sanction in the only way we can. So, in other words, the fans are going to play a big part in this. And the club are quite happy for the fans to play a big part in this. But at the end of the day, you say the protests are pointless.
Well, look, I mean,
10 points won't be reduced, will it?
Look, what's being stirred up? I don't think so. But you run an appeal, and maybe you'll maybe get some grace out of it. But you can believe me, if Everton had been sanctioned 6 points or 7 points or whatever less than 10 it was, there would still be resistance to this. So even if Everton get a win out of it, they create pressure. And of course, what it may do is it may force the hands of those that don't feel the necessity to make available information as to the makeup of why people were put on the panel, what the sanctioning menu was, how they arrived at 10 points, because those are issues that people don't understand. Now, if they answer those questions, which may be the outcome, people are still not going to like the outcome because they don't like the outcome. They're not going. I've got my answers. I've been told, actually, factually, the reasons why we got 10 points, and I understand that, but I don't like it.
But I'm still not happy.
And you're never going to square that circle.
Right. So the planned protests going ahead once football comes back. We've been waiting for the Premier League to come back, of course, for a while during this international break, but it's going to come back slightly different at Goodison, which will be like a bear pit, we are assured, on Sunday. How delicate should the messaging be from Everton right now when it comes to creating a siege mentality? And Evertonians, I'm sure you like to think these protests are going to be powerful rather than pointless, but is that right? Is that right? Will they be powerful? 03717 223344. When it comes to the message you're trying to impart, what is the message? You might want to tell me. 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.